Hi everyone! So one of the most telling placements in Agatha Christie's chart is her Mercury, because Mercury is the planet that talks about the mind, thinking and communication. And hers is in Libra, which is about balance, fairness, relationships and seeing both sides of a situation. So when Mercury is in Libra, the mind can become observant. This can create someone who thinks by comparing different sides. They may ask what is fair, what does the other person think? And it's in the 9th house, which is about higher knowledge, expansion, truth and meaning. So together, this placement can create someone with a mind that wants to understand truth from different perspectives. They may be good at seeing different sides of an argument and searching for meaning behind what people say. And this is interesting for someone who became one of the most famous writers in the world, because Agatha Christie's stories are full of different perspectives, different characters and different motives. And mystery writing in general is about weighing different answers against each other until the truth becomes clear. And that's what this placement allowed her to do. And right next to her Mercury, she also got her Moon in Libra, still in the 9th house. So the Moon is about our emotions and instincts. It shows what a person feels and what they're emotionally sensitive to. And Libra is again about balance, relationships and fairness. So when the Moon is in Libra, a person can become emotionally sensitive to the atmosphere between people. They may notice when something feels unfair or off, or when there's tension in the room. And the 9th house is again about truth, meaning and higher knowledge. So this creates someone who emotionally wants to understand people and the meaning behind what they do. And this is very connected to Agatha Christie's writing, because her books are filled with social settings, dinner parties, families, villages and groups of people who all seem polite on the surface, but underneath there are secrets and jealousy and betrayal and hidden motives. So her Moon could have helped her emotionally understand how people behave around each other, which adds to the mental understanding that her Mercury represents. But then she also got her Neptune in Gemini in the 5th house. And Neptune is about imagination, dreams, spirituality and illusions. And Gemini is about curiosity, communication and the mind. So when Neptune is in Gemini, the imagination works through ideas and words. A person with this placement may have a very imaginative mind, or they may be drawn to stories and possibilities. And the 5th house is about creativity, self-expression, romance and children. So if you have this placement, you may enjoy expressing your imagination through storytelling, theater or anything else that's creative, where you can express yourself, especially when it comes to words in some way. And you could also enjoy creating worlds in your mind and have a generally very vivid imagination. And I would actually call this placement the mystery writer placement. This definitely explains why she felt drawn towards that type of career, because the conversations in her books can mislead. Nothing is straightforward, and something can appear ordinary at first, but later mean something completely different. And that's how the imaginative Neptune acts when it's in the curious Gemini, that sees many different possibilities. And again, the 5th house makes it wanting to be expressed and played around with. And her Neptune is also trining her Moon. As you can see, there's a line here. And a trine is an aspect where two planets work together harmoniously. And this can create someone with a strong emotional imagination. since the moon is about emotions and Neptune is about imagination. So a person with this aspect could be able to turn their feelings into some sort of creative expression. Her moon can feel into relationships and social situations, as Libra talks about. And Neptune could turn that feeling into imaginative storytelling. And she also got her Pluto right next to her Neptune, still in Gemini in the 6th house. So Pluto is about power, transformation, and what's hidden underneath the surface. And Gemini is again about communication and the mind. So when Pluto is in Gemini, the mind can become intense. A person with this placement may become very interested in what's hidden behind words and what people say. And the 6th house is about daily work, health, and service. So this placement could create someone who approaches their work with a very deep and analytical mind. They may naturally look beneath the surface of information and wanting to understand how everything fits together. So for Agatha Christie, this placement gave her depth and intensity to the way she worked with information. In her stories, one detail can change everything, and the 6th house connects this to her daily work, such as her writing and planning and careful placing of information. And as you can see, her Pluto sits very close to her Neptune. They're just about 1 degree apart. And that means that they are in conjunction, which merge their energies together. And this can create a very powerful imagination, because Neptune is about imagination, while Pluto brings the power to it. And for Agatha Christie, this makes so much sense, because Neptune gives the imagination and the mystery, while Pluto gives the depth and the obsession with uncovering what's hidden. So when these two planets merge together, it can show someone who is able to create stories where nothing is exactly what it seems. So I think this conjunction is very important in her chart because it combines imagination with psychological depth, which explains why her storytelling is associated with secrets and mystery. And her Pluto is also trining her moon. And a trine again creates a very harmonious energy between them. So this can create someone with a strong emotional depth, since the moon again is about emotions and Pluto is about depth. So a person with this aspect could be very good at sensing what people are really feeling, even if they're not saying it out loud. So this placement could have helped Agatha understand hidden motives in a very natural way, like emotions such as guilt, fear, resentment, or things that people try to hide. And in her stories, this can be seen through how much power there is in small details and in what people don't say. But then we get to her sun, and her sun is in Virgo, in the 8th house. And this is probably one of the clearest placements for why she became known for crime and mystery. Because the sun represents our core identity, and Virgo is about details, problem solving, order, and improvement. So when the sun is in Virgo, a person can become very observant and practical. They may notice what's missing, what's wrong, what needs to be fixed. And the 8th house connects this to deeper and more intense parts of life, such as secrets, psychology, intimacy, death, and transformation. So when the sun is in Virgo in the 8th house, it can create someone whose identity is connected to analyzing deeper and more complicated things. This can be a person who doesn't just accept what's on the surface. They want to look closer and understand what's really happening. And for Agatha Christie, this is almost too perfect, because her entire legacy is built around secrets and investigation. So Virgo gave her ability to organize details, while the 8th house gave her the connection to mystery, depth, and hidden motives. And because the sun is here, it means that it becomes a central part of her identity. So this placement can be seen in the structure of a detective story itself. Something hidden has happened, and the truth has to be found by carefully analyzing the evidence. So if you have this placement too, I'd say that you'd probably become a very good detective. And a very powerful career placement in her chart is her Venus, and it's in the 10th house in Scorpio. So Venus is about beauty, attraction, and love, and Scorpio is about depth, intensity, secrecy, and transformation. So when Venus is in Scorpio, beauty becomes deeper and more intense. A person may be drawn to things that feel powerful or mysterious. And the 10th house is about our career, ambition, and the role a person wants to play in the world. So this can create someone who wants their work to be about creating something like art with depth that leaves a lasting impact. And for Agatha Christie, this means that the public was drawn to her work because it wasn't light or simple beauty. It was Scorpio beauty. The beauty of mystery and suspense, where secrets are being revealed in a creative way. So Venus shows what attracts people, and Scorpio shows mystery and hidden truth, while the 10th house shows career and reputation. So people are drawn to the mystery and the suspense and the emotional intensity in her work. And because it's in the 10th house, it became a part of her public image. She became known for her Scorpio themes like murder, secrets, betrayal, and hidden motives, but not in her personal life, but in her work through her writing. And she also got her Saturn in Virgo in the 8th house. So this adds more seriousness and structure to that 8th house theme, because Saturn is about discipline, responsibility, patience, mastery, and hard work. And Virgo is again about details, order, improvement, and precision. So when Saturn is in Virgo, a person may become very serious about getting things right. They want every detail to have a purpose. And the 8th house is again about secrets, intimacy, and transformation. So when Saturn is in Virgo in the 8th house, it can create someone who is patient enough to work through complexity piece by piece, especially when the subject is deep or sensitive. And for Agatha Christie, this could have given her the discipline to build very carefully structured plots, because writing mysteries is not easy. Every clue has to be placed properly, every character has to have a reason to be there, and everything needs to make sense. And if the reader goes back to the beginning, the clues should have been there all along. And that is Saturn in Virgo in the 8th house. It is disciplined mystery and controlled darkness, and the ability to turn depth and secrets into something structured and intelligent. And her Saturn is also sextiling her Venus. So that's the line right there. And a sextile is an aspect where two planets can support each other, such as a talent or opportunity that becomes stronger if the person works with it. So it's a harmonious energy, but it's not as strong as a trine. So this can create someone who's able to combine creativity with discipline, since Venus is about art and beauty, and Saturn is about structure and hard work. So a person with this aspect could have creative ideas, but also the ability to shape them into something solid and lasting. And this could have helped her create stories that were not just entertaining, but also very carefully built. The charm of Venus is there, but Saturn gives it that structure underneath. Now let's move over to her Jupiter, which sits in the first house in Aquarius. So Jupiter is about growth, expansion, luck and success. And Aquarius is about originality, independence, intelligence, society and the future. So when Jupiter is in Aquarius, growth can come through being original and thinking differently, or not following the expected path. And the first house is about the self and how we express ourselves. So when Jupiter is in Aquarius, in the first house, it can create someone who stands out because they are different. So for Agatha Christie, this could have helped her create something that was not just popular in her own time, but something that reached far beyond it. Detective fiction existed before her, but she expanded it in her own unique way. She created a style, a structure, and a world that became iconic. And this fits this placement quite well, because Jupiter expands, Aquarius makes it original, and the first house connects it to the person's identity and presence. And having a strong placement in Aquarius in general, especially when it's in, I'd say, the 1st, 5th, 9th and 10th house, will make you more original and perhaps a little different from others, but you could actually be ahead of your time as well. And it's something that really helps a person if they want to become well known because of their unique perspective on life. And another placement that stands out to me is her Uranus, and it's in Libra in the 9th house. So Uranus is the planet of originality, surprise, disruption and sudden insight. And Libra is again about fairness and truth and people. And this can make a person see situations from an unexpected angle. They may want a lot of freedom in their relationships and could have a very unique artistic style. And the 9th house is about, again, higher knowledge, truth and deeper meaning. And this can be a person who sees situations from an unexpected angle. And they may enjoy exploring different ideas and cultures. Now, this is very interesting for Agatha Christie because her writing is so connected to surprises. So Uranus is the twist. It's the moment where the reader thinks he understands the story, and then suddenly everything changes. And because Uranus is in Libra for her, these surprises often happen through relationships and social dynamics. Someone's marriage or friendships becomes part of the mystery. Libra gives the social setting, and Uranus disrupts it. So when we look at Agatha Christie's chart, it makes so much sense why she became known for mystery. And I will go deeper into why she was so interested in murder and mysteries and how it relates to who she was as a person, as well as her personal beliefs around it. So if you're interested in getting a deeper look into that, I will go through it in my next letter on Substack. I'm going to link to my letter in the description box, and it's completely free. There's also an archive of all of my posts on Substack. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!